Cruz Azul. It is Tuesday, September 22nd, 2020. You can now Kosmohan and Kosonik. Here is your daily bite of news. Microsoft agreed on Monday to acquire ZeniMax Media Inc., the owner of popular video game publisher Bethesda Softworks, for $7.5 billion. The deal has PlayStation fans worried that their favorite franchises, namely The Elder Scrolls, Fallout, and Doom, could become Xbox exclusive. Xbox does plan to honor already made promises for exclusive PlayStation 5 game releases, but no promises on future title releases. Animal rescuers have confiscated 3 lions from Netflix's Tiger King star Jeff Lowe's shuttered Oklahoma Zoo as part of an Endangered Species Act lawsuit. The cats are now in the care of the Wild Animal Sanctuary nonprofit located in Colorado and Texas. PETA is offering to drop its lawsuit against Lowe if he gives up all of his animals and agrees never to possess ESA-protected animals in the future, after USDA evidence of severe animal neglect was noticed in the big cats. Despite heavy smoke from fires, protests resumed in Portland, Oregon over the weekend. "Fire's not going to smoke us out," says Reverend E.D. Mondane, president of Portland's NAACP chapter. "The time for equality and justice is upon us." They marched on Friday to the U.S. ICE building and confronted the law enforcement there. 11 people were arrested by the end of the night. Then on Saturday and Sunday night, hundreds took to the streets. Reverend Mondane also said, "The cries in the streets need to become the cries in the boardroom. We're going to have to move the needles legislatively." Utah police released body camera footage of the shooting of a 13-year-old autistic boy in early September. The footage shows that when police responded to the mental health call made by his mother, they initially discussed the best way to approach him without it becoming a shooting matter. But after he defied orders and ran from the officers through an alley, about a dozen shots were fired on him. In the footage, there is no indication of a weapon being held by the boy. As he lay on the ground, the boy said, "I don't feel good. Tell my mom I love her." The boy is alive and currently hospitalized. The footage was released as part of the city's policy to release camera footage from police-involved shootings within 10 days. Police Chief Mike Brown said, "We are facing a mental health crisis in this country. As a community, we need to find a way forward. Too often, our officers are called to deal with these difficult problems, which frequently are not criminal in nature. We want to be partners with those who provide mental health services." Apart from the Uighur-Xinjiang forced labor camps, China also appears to be setting up mass labor program training centers in Tibet and forcing, so far, 500,000 people through the programs, according to evidence. Rural farmers and ethnic minorities are coerced into these training facilities with military-run styles of management and ideological training, all with the emphasis of their putting them into low-paid wage work in construction, manufacturing, and agriculture. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs denies the forced labor narrative, saying that China is a land of rule and law and workers are voluntary and properly compensated. China seized control of Tibet in 1950 and has become one of the most restricted areas in the country. Foreign journalists are not permitted to enter and verify the stories. Critics and rights groups are accusing Chinese authorities of carrying out cultural genocide in the region. The situation seems to mirror the reports the UN has confirmed regarding the known Uyghur detention camps, which now the Chinese government has had to acknowledge the existence of, but seeks to label as education facilities. The 75th anniversary of the United Nations General Assembly kicked off on Monday. While most took part virtually, some 163 mask-wearing and socially distanced diplomats did attend the hall in Manhattan, which normally is packed. There was a notable, conspicuous absence, though, that of the scheduled recorded speech by President Trump of the United States that was supposed to start the event as host country. No immediate explanation was given for this. Secretary General Antonio Guterres gave a live speech at the podium. He extolled the UN for its role in preventing a third world war, but was blunt about cascading crises of conflict, hunger, poverty, and climate change exaggerated by the pandemic. As he said, "It took 2 world wars, millions of deaths, and the horrors of the Holocaust for world leaders to commit to international cooperation and the rule of law. Never in modern history have we gone so many years without a military confrontation between the major powers. This is a great achievement of which member states can be proud, and which we must all strive to preserve." Still, he added, multilateralism, countries large and small collaborating for solutions, a principle enshrined in the UN Charter, has been increasingly tested, if not ignored. Climate calamity looms, he said. Biodiversity is collapsing. Poverty is again rising. Hatred is spreading. Geopolitical tensions are escalating. Nuclear weapons remain on hair-trigger alert. Transformative technologies have opened up new opportunities, but also exposed new threats. The COVID-19 pandemic has laid bare the world's fragilities. We can only address them together. All other leaders gave their remarks in pre-recorded videos. Just days after publishing new guidance on airborne transmission of the coronavirus, which acknowledged that fine particles floating in air may spread the virus, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, on Monday withdrew the advice, saying only that it had been posted in error on the agency's website. The rapid reversal prompted consternation among scientists and again called into question the credibility of the world's premier health agency. Experts with knowledge of the incident say the latest reversal appears to be a genuine mistake of the scientific review process, rather than a result of political meddling. Others said they found it hard to understand how a document of such importance and public health implications could have been posted without careful vetting, given the agency's scrutiny. Just last week, the CDC faced criticism when it was revealed they published guidelines directed by administration officials and not scientists. On Sunday, the agency updated their description to say that the virus is transmitted primarily through the air, like aerosol, and that better air filters would be required to combat it, and that spending hours cleaning was overkill. But that description had disappeared by Monday, to be replaced by the traditional opinion of COVID spreading by water droplets. 200 experts on aerosol studies with WHO are currently debating the aerosol versus droplet transmission debate. Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's coffin will lie in state on the Supreme Court's top portico steps for 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, to honor her legacy and sacrifice to justice. This honor of a 2-day ceremony has not been bestowed since the death of William Howard Taft, and one that has never been granted to a woman before. The formal ceremony to take place will only be open to invited guests. President Trump is planned to visit and pay his respects in person at the Supreme Court. A private interment service will be held next week at Arlington National Cemetery. That's all for today's highlights. If you would like to learn more about any of these topics, please see our description below for sources. Subscribe to receive a daily news update. Kokan Fahon, Kosmohan, Kosonik, Koskain.